Hi folks, it's Andy. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Welcome to this week's Kendo Rant. We've got fantastic questions this week and there's loads of them, okay? So I'm going to be firing through them quite quickly. So if I'm speaking too quickly, then you might want to set the video setting to play at like half speed or something, because I'm going to have to fire through these, otherwise we'll be here for about 2 hours. Before we jump into the video though, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. You need to click the Kendo bell after subscribing. Science says that will help you exponentially improve at Kendo. It's not a prediction, but just so you know. You can support us by buying a t-shirt at the Teespring store. This is a great one that we have. It's the one I always show. Keizoku wa chikara nari. Perseverance is power. I think that's well good. And the most important thing, of course, is you can support us by shopping at Kendostar.com. That's in the shot. I don't know. Kendostar.com is my website that sells amazing, fantastic Kendo equipment shipped all around the world. It's brilliant. If you don't believe me, check out our Trustpilot rating, because Trustpilot is an independent reviews aggregate, and we're like the best rated online. So go and shop at Kendostar.com if these videos bring you any value whatsoever. So let's get into these questions. Hi Andy, quick question on Borgu maintenance. I made the rookie mistake of leaving my Borgu in the Borgu bag. I transport it in when we move to a new apartment. With lockdown and life, etc., I haven't made it back to practice. Now that I'm about to get back into the dojo, I removed my Borgu to find, to my shock, that there is a grey mould growing on the kote men. Can this be gotten rid of, cleaned up, similar to the sweat salt stains video you posted last year? Or is there another way I should approach this? Very much appreciate any help, thanks. Okay, so yeah, I posted a video about how to clean up the salt stains off your Borgu. Let me just bring that up. Okay, so on the Kendo Show channel, which you're subscribed to, of course, you'll find this one, the clean the sweat stains off your Borgu. It's an excerpt actually from a previous Kendo Rant video that I did, where I teach you exactly how to clean those sweat stains off your Borgu. You can use this method indeed to get rid of that mold. Not sure I like that freeze frame. It's only a short video that lets you know how to do it. You can do that, and that will definitely help. Basically, you just use a wet cloth and you rub it along the lines of the stitching. But watch that video. With the kote though, you can actually wash them. You can wash them in the same way you can wash a kendogi. And I think I've got a video that how to do that as well. So check that out, and if you want to wash them that way, that will definitely help also. So yeah, just quickly to add to that, yeah, it's this video here, how to wash kendogi, hakama and kote. Towards the end of the video, I go through how to hand wash an aizome kendogi, but also how to wash a pair of kote. It's very easy, if a little time consuming. So yeah, that's the other thing you can do with the kote. Okay, next one. What do you think of the ISB/IBB ski guard, a necessity? So I think it's ISG, is this thing, right? The Anzen Ago, we have it on the Kendostar website. Right, well, here's the thing. I only put this on the website because people were asking for it. People asked me to put it on. And I did put a question out there before I did. I said, do you want me to put this on? Because personally, I do not think it's necessary. I think it's a real gimmick, actually. And I definitely don't think that they're required. I don't use one. I don't ever anticipate I will use one. I don't know anyone that does use one either. I think, yeah, I think they're a real gimmick. The Borgu is designed to protect you well enough from ski strikes. You don't need any extra things like that to protect you. If you find that you need to talk to the people that are doing the ski on you and let them know that what they're doing is painful, because receiving the ski shouldn't be painful. Even if the strike misses, it can be uncomfortable, but not necessarily painful. And if it's because you are like attacking and they're holding the center and that's going underneath your men, then the chances are you're lifting your chin when you strike, which is a common habit. It won't, you're not going to get injured. It'll be uncomfortable. You might get a bruise and stuff like that. It's really unlikely, in my opinion, that you're likely to receive anything worse than that. I've never, ever heard of any injury related to skiwaza within my own circle of kendo. I've heard of somebody's uncle's brother's sister's dog that's been injured with a ski, but I kind of write that off as hearsay, frankly. I've never seen it personally. Certainly not anything that would have happened within the recent years. So with that said, no, I don't think that these things are necessary. I do sell them. If you want one, go and buy one. But I'm not advising them. I'm not advocating for them. And I don't think that you need one. Okay, I think they're a gimmick. Okay, next one. Hi Andy, what is it that makes Samedo so much more expensive than regular bamboo door? Is it the race skin used really? Is the race skin used really about $800 to $1,000 more expensive than the regular hide used on a bamboo door? Right, well, I've got a fantastic answer for that, and it's coming up right after this. Okay, so shop at Kendostar. In terms of the same door, so same in Japanese means shark, so they're often called shark skin door, but it's not. They're actually stingray skins, and the reason that they are much more expensive is it's partly to do with the price of the material, the skin price. It is a very expensive material, and especially when it's large enough to make a door. It needs to be a very large shark skin, ray skin, in order to be able to be big enough to be used on a bamboo door in order to make a same door. And they are extremely rare. The fish don't grow that big that often in the farms where they ethically farm that stuff. That's why it's not just for kendo stuff that they use ray skin. Okay, they use it in lots of sort of fashion accessories and stuff like that. So yeah, in terms of the actual the price, part of it is because of the size of the skin, and secondly is because of the effort required to make it. It's much harder to make a same door than it is to make a regular bamboo door, and making a regular bamboo door is extremely difficult in itself. Basically, the skin itself. It's supposed to be underwater all the time, so it has to be the way it's treated in order to be applied to the door, and then of course they're hand painted as our bamboo door actually. But essentially, to cut a long story short, the process of making them is much more difficult, and there's not many craftsmen that do it. So yeah, they're not super durable. They're not super practical. They look beautiful, but they're not. They're very heavy, and like I say, they're not super great in terms of durability either. They're not good for like regular practice. So yeah, if you like the look of them, you're better off with a synthetic one, to be honest. Next one, is the Kendo for Dummies bug real? If so, could you sell it? No, it's not real. It's a piece of paper that's stuck over a different book. I think you know that. Next one, hi Andy, hope you're well. What are your thoughts and experience on bamboo door versus synthetic plastic? Any pros, cons, one over the other? So I think I talked about this in the Ultimate Guide for Kendo Boga video that I've done, but bamboo door are a little bit more solid, a little bit more protective because they're so solid. But they are heavier, they are more sensitive to things like changes in temperature, so they are a little bit more delicate, and they require a little bit of more care and attention in that respect. You have to be a bit careful, like not to leave them next to a heater or something like that. And you can't resize them either, all right? So if if you lose weight, or the other way, resizing them is much more difficult. You can resize them, but you can't resize them very much. Okay. Overall, from a practical point of view, synthetic is much more practical. It's lighter weight. It's much more durable, and it's easier to care for. It's easier to resize. So yeah, overall, I'd say that the synthetic ones are kind of win out in terms of practicality, but the bamboo doors, sometimes you just can't beat a beautiful bamboo door, right? Like they do look beautiful, they really do. When it's beautiful urushi that's lacquered on them, they do look fantastic. I have to say, but in terms of for everyday use, you're better off with a plastic one. Next one. What's your opinion of the efficacy of the COVID-inspired face shields and masks? When will we return to the dojo again safely? What's the current situation in Japan and UK dojos? So I think the plastic masks things, the full face shields, I don't think are very good. From the reports I've had, is they're very hot and stuffy. They're very quick to fog up. In my dojo, we use the mouth shields. We don't use the eye shields in my dojo because I don't think that they're very safe. I've seen too many reports of them actually breaking, and I think that's a bit dangerous. And obviously, then there's the men mask that the Japanese Kendo Federation talk about, which is the tenuguri over the face, and that's apparently more effective than the actual plastic shields in terms of the whole virus thing. But I mean, I think the masks, the plastic shield, mouth shields masks, I actually think they're quite good. I don't know in terms of, like I say, I'm not going to comment on the efficacy in terms of viruses and stuff. I think they're quite good in terms of hygiene. They're not too disturbing. They don't get in the way. They're easy to forget that they're there, to be honest. So yeah, when can we return to the dojo again safely? Don't know. What's this current situation in Japan and the UK dojos? So in Japan, it's not back to normal. Lots of people are using, some places are just practicing back to normal. Lots of places are using the cloth masks, the tenuguri over the face, or a similar mask, cloth mask underneath the men. In Japan, they're back to regular dojo practice though, for the most part, as far as I understand. Gradings have started up again. There's some small taikai that have started up again. The Zen Kennen hasn't started up with tournaments yet, but they started gradings again. They did the Hachidan grading the other day. So yeah, they're looking to get back on track as soon as possible. It's very different how they're responding to the whole pandemic thing there to how they are in many other countries. I know, for example, that one of the dojos that I'm connected with in Japan, they did have an incidence of a positive test in the club. And one of the kids there was, tested positive, I think. And because of that I think that kid had to rest for, like, not go to, they had to like isolate or quarantine for 2 weeks, and the dojo took a week off practice. That was about it, I think, in terms of the consequences of that. The UK, it's very different. The UK, we're in like at the minute, it varies from the different countries within the UK, from England to Scotland to Wales and Northern Ireland. I think it's very different. I'm in England, where we have like a 3-tier system. We are still able to practice kendo, but we have to do it on an individual basis. We're not really allowed to do the paired practice or anything like that. So it's a bit frustrating. I guess, though, I think in other areas it's different. We have this 3-tier system, like I say, so I'm in quite a high tier. I think we're in the top tier area, actually. So, yeah, whereas I think areas in the lower tier are allowed to do some paired practice, but we're not. But anyway, next one. Hello, Andy. You may have recently seen in another Facebook feed that there was a heated discussion regarding if kendo should be made an Olympic sport. What's your opinion? Many feel that oversportification of kendo may take away the budo aspect, and feel this may be happening with judo and karate now being made Olympic sports. With already having international kendo tournaments, would there be much difference between these events, and what would happen in an Olympic Games venue? Do you feel some good can come by letting more of the world witness kendo as on an Olympic scale? Cheers. So yeah, you posted a link to that thread, but it was posted by somebody that's blocked me on Facebook, so I wasn't able to see it. I wrote who anyway. But look, the Olympic question, it's a long-standing question. It's been in the kendo community for a long time. I don't think it's going to go away. my opinion, I've done a video about it in the past, but what is my opinion right now? I don't think it will become it should become an Olympic sport. It will, you know, there would be benefits, of course, funding, exposure, stuff like that, but not massively. It's not like, you know, there's massive funding for obscure Olympic sports as it is. So yeah, I don't see much gain for Kendo to join the Olympics. It's different to judo. It's different to judo and karate because judo was developed with the intention of becoming an Olympic sport when Kendo wasn't. And karate, I don't think that was the same for them, but karate has been actively campaigning to get into the Olympics for quite some time now, and they finally made it in. It's quite the opposite situation when it comes to Kendo. Kendo is not going in the Olympics, so it's kind of a moot point anyway. But the All Japan Kendo Federation, the International Kendo Federation, are not looking to push Kendo as an Olympic sport, and I don't think it's the sort of sport that the Olympic Federation is looking to pick up either. So yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't want it to happen. I think the majority of people in Kendo certainly don't want it to happen. I know there is a community of people that do want it to happen. I get why they do, but I don't think it will, so it doesn't matter. Next one. Handy, if you were only able to choose one match from YouTube that, in your opinion, epitomized beautiful Kendo, which would it be? Easy. I think it's the 51st All Japan Kendo Championship final between Chikamoto Takumi Sensei and Ando Kaigo Sensei. I think is the 51st. Let's have a quick look. Okay, yeah, here it is. It's only a short match. It's only a 3-minute match, but this is the 51st All Japan Championships, so quite some time ago. I think this is just a beautiful example of Kendo at such an excellent level. It's fantastic. It's a beautiful shiai. 2 amazing Kendoka. I'm pretty sure that Ando Sensei was the reigning champion at the time, so he's defending his title in this match against Chikamoto Sensei. They're both from the same prefectural police force. I understand that Chikamoto Sensei is actually Ando Sensei's senpai in that regard. He's Rokudan, and Ando Sensei is 5th dan at this point. I'm pretty sure, I think Ando Sensei is 7th dan now, and Chikamoto Sensei is 8th dan now. But it's just, it represents everything that I think beautiful Kendo is. And yeah, it's a very intense, but yeah, beautiful shiai between 2 very, very accomplished, wonderful shiaisha. I won't spoil the match. You did see a point there slip through, but the points in this match are absolutely amazing, textbook perfect points. So yeah, go and watch it. Next one, how do you get out of Tsubazeri when your opponent really tries to stick to you and push hard on your Shinai? Use Ashisabaki, Taisabaki, and Hikiwaza. That's basically the answer. I've got a video about how to do Hikiwaza and Tsubazeri, so go and watch that. But you need to improve your Tsubazeri, you need to improve your Taisabaki, your body movement, your Ashisabaki, your footwork, and your Hikiwaza, your attacks going backwards. Next one, hi Andy, I have had feedback from teachers saying that Suriashi is fine to use for people with injuries preventing the ability to do Fumikomi. But I've also had feedback from one grading panelist saying that some waza can only be done with Fumikomi and should not be done without. What are your thoughts on this? I personally cannot think of a waza that should not be considered Yuko Datotsu, which is a valid strike, based solely on the criteria of whether it has Fumikomi or not. Fumikomi being the stamping action, by the way. Kentai no Ichi is a prerequisite of Yuko Datotsu. Fumikomi stamping is not. So if you're able to perform waza with Kentai no Ichi, with Suriashi, of course that's perfectly acceptable. I can't think of a waza that specifically has to be done with Fumikomi. Potentially it could be difficult to do some Hikiwaza without doing Fumikomi, but it's not. It's, you know, it's possible. But I don't think it's, it's harder, definitely, but it's definitely possible. The more I think about it, actually, it's perfectly possible. Especially if you're in the situation when you can't do it. So yeah, I think it's perfectly fine. But the point is, you have to do with Kikentai no Ichi, right? So one of the things that I've seen before is people, they can't do Fumikomi, so they try to do Suriashi, but for some reason their hands and feet are still out of sync. So you still have to sync your hands and feet, your whole body together with the rest of it. Okay. Next one. What does a typical day and week of a Kendo Tokuren police officer look like? I have no idea, as that's not the life I've ever led. I'm not a Kendo Tokuren police officer. I don't know what their day and week looks like. I'm sure it heavily depends on the area and the specific police force as well. I think some of the bigger ones, they probably have I know some will have like a morning practice, like in like maybe 9 till 12 or so. I don't know. Like morning till lunchtime, they'll have a lunch break, and then there'll probably be quite a big break in between. I know some of them even have a time where they can have like a nap or a sleep in between, and then they'll do an evening practice. So it depends. It depends on the place. It depends on everything. But I couldn't say for certain in any case, as I'm sure it also changes as well with various things too. Next one, what do you think of those large dohimo, the Korean style? You mean the ones that look like tarihimo, like, right? I don't like them. I think they look rubbish. I think they look like something for kids. And like it looks like you can't really deal with real himo. I know they're probably tied in a similar way, but I think I don't know. I'm a bit of a traditionalist, and I think they look a little bit rubbish. Next one, if you use the wax that you can find on Kendostar, do you also have to oil the Shinai? Yes, the wax is not a replacement for the oil. The wax is for when you repair the Shinai. If you shave some of the splinters away, and then sand it down a bit and then rub it with the wax, it will prevent it from splintering away. But you don't use the wax all over the Shinai all the time in replacement of oil. You still want to oil the Shinai, all right? Next one. Hi Andy, I'm a big fan of the show. Thank you very much. I'm pretty new to Kendo and I'm having an awesome time, but I'm curious, can especially big or small feet help or hinder your footwork? I have size 14, 13.5 UK feet. Wow. And sometimes I feel like it's been a hindrance practicing, but I'm not sure how much of that is just me. Any thoughts or experience in that regard? I don't think so. I don't think that it will make a difference. You might feel like it does, but I'm pretty sure you're probably struggling the same as anyone else that's new to Kendo does. I don't think that having large or small feet will be any sort of benefit or hindrance to your Kendo practice or your footwork at all. It's tough, it takes a lot of practice, but I'm sure you'll get through it. Next one. Hi Andy, in your opinion, what are some good strategies for assisting new Kendoka with the transition from introductory level to their first few months in Borgu? I observe it's quite a challenging time and there's often a big drop in participation at this stage. I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts on the matter. So, yeah, it is a big drop-off point. One of the things I think one of the things that a lot of people drop off for is because it hurts more than they expected. And that's one of the reasons, obviously, at Kendostar, I really wanted to make protective Borgu, because I know that that's a point that people drop off at, is when they first start wearing the Borgu. So one thing you can do is make sure they buy protective Kendostar Borgu. But more importantly, I do think that is an issue. I think one thing you need to do is reassure them that everybody struggles when they first start wearing Borgu for a start. And secondly, you need to really keep a close eye on strikes that they are receiving as well as the strikes that they're putting out. So making sure that they're done correctly. And I don't rush either. Don't like throw them straight into doing like full on kirikaishi just because they just got their Borgu on. Start almost back at the beginning just with basic strikes with suriashi. Just stress accuracy, not power. Because the last thing you want is people getting bruised up. I see it all the time. See people new to Borgu and they take off the kote and they've got really big, like dark bruises on their arms. where their kote was supposed to be protecting them. That should not be happening. All right. You need to make sure that that isn't happening. And if it is, you need to find out why it's happening and you need to address it. Because I really think that that's one of the reasons that people drop off at that point. They drop off for three main reasons. One is either it hurts. Two is that it's a lot harder than they thought and it's more tiring than they thought, in which case you have to introduce things slowly. And then the other thing, of course, is extended commitment. Obviously, like people get into Boga like 3 to 6 months in, which is probably a big drop-off time for lots of sports and lots of activities because it's not new anymore. It's not as fun as it was in the beginning. It's not as exciting. And I don't think there's that much that you can do about that. That's the point at where people start to really decide whether Kendo is something they're going to continue or whether they're going to move on to their next fad. And that's it. Hi Andy, thanks for always answering our questions on Kendo RANT. No, thank you for asking them. 2 questions. Keiichiku versus Malakai Shinai. What criteria should we consider when selecting one over the other, assuming both are great quality like the ones at Kendostar? Well, you'd only be selecting them from Kendostar, surely. I saw that the Guy uniform set ran out of stock. Will there ever be a new version of it? It's my favourite uniform for regular practice. Okay, cool. So Keiichiku versus Malakai. So Keiichiku and Malakai are the types of bamboo that are used for Shinai. Keiichiku is it refers to the species of the bamboo, all right, not where it's grown. A common misconception is that it's where it's grown. Keiichiku bamboo is the Taiwanese species of bamboo. It's a bamboo that's native to China and Taiwan. Whereas Malakai is the species of bamboo that's native to Japan. That doesn't mean that Malakai Shinais are made from bamboo that's grown in Japan. Most of them aren't. It's that species that's native to Japan, usually that's grown elsewhere. Japanese Malakai, actually grown in Japan, Malakai is much more expensive. If you look at Shinai like the Tesho, I think it's called on Kendostar, you'll see there's a big jump up in price when you get to that. Now, the difference between them, because it used to be a lot more expensive, Malakai, it's not because one of the reasons, this is a bit of trivia and I'm going off a bit off the side here, but Malakai used to be grown less, so it was produced less and therefore it was more expensive. And the main reason for that is most of it's grown in China or Taiwan, right? A lot of it's grown in Taiwan. But they didn't grow as much Malakai as they grew as Keiichiku because what do you call it? Takenoko, the bamboo shoot, the root bit, they eat that in Asia. And the Malakai one is much more bitter than the Keiichiku one. So the Keiichiku one is more preferable as a food source. So Keiichiku is more prevalent overall. But with Shinai production becoming more and more prevalent, more and more popular, places started to grow Malakai more in greater numbers so they could produce Malakai Shinai because some people prefer Malakai Shinai. Because it was more expensive, people thought it was more durable. It's not particularly more durable, to be honest. I actually find that Keiichiku can be more durable, but it depends on the person's kendo. Basically, Keiichiku is more flexible than Malakai naturally. Okay, so Malakai seems to be a bit more fibrous and it's a little bit more rigid in terms of the actual qualities of the bamboo itself, the feel of it. So you'll find that the Keiichiku bends a little bit more, it flexes a little bit more on the impact of the strike if you use correct tenoichi. That's the key. So if you like a sword, a Shinai, that feels more like a sword and has a little bit more rigidity to it, then Malakai could be a better choice. And if you prefer a Shinai that's more flexible, then Keiichiku is a better option. Having said that, modern Malakai that is grown in China or Taiwan tends to be more similar in qualities to the Keiichiku in terms of feel. It is a little bit stiffer, but to be honest, unless you're very experienced in using lots of different types of Shinai, most people wouldn't notice. So yeah, don't worry too much about whether it's Keiichiku or Malakai. Instead, you'd be better looking for something like suits the style of the Shinai that you want. So whether it's like an all-round, all-purpose Shinai, like the Kendostar all-purpose Shinai, if you want something that's got a very light tip, very fast, for making very fast repetitive strikes, something like the Junki or the Koren. And if you wanted something that's sort of more like with an oval grip, for example, we've got the Torkon that has that. We've got a great place to look as well is the Kinjurushi models that we have. They're like a bit more premium because there's a lot of different types and a lot more obscure types that, you know, we wouldn't have loads of stock on. That's why they're, you know, they're a little bit more premium. So they're sort of made to order. And we have stuff like shorter grips. We've got like Koto style or Chokuto style, however you want to, you know, different balances and stuff like that. So take a look through all those and have a think about which you would like to suit your own kendo. If you want something just for the daily slog though, your daily kirikaishi or ichikomi, your everyday practice, you can't go wrong with like something like the Kendostar all purpose Shinai. In terms of the Gaia uniform, yeah, it's been discontinued. The uniform set itself is out of stock. We're currently selling off the Kendogi and Hakama stock that we have. When it's gone, it's gone. We've got a great deal on it at the minute. I think it's like 60% off or something crazy. But it is limited to what's there. When it's gone, will there ever be a new version of it? Well, you'd have to wait and see. Next one. Hi Andy, I've received my new Shinobi Wraith Borg set and I'm having a bit of a hard time getting used to it. My regular practice set is the good old Jisengata Isamu, about which I appreciate the flexibility it provides. However, whenever I put on the new Shinobi set, it feels stiff and doesn't give me much space. My question is, will this improve with time, or is it something I have to get used to due to the different construction and mendai length? Akin to this, I was pleasantly surprised by the new freebie that came with the order, a lucky charm. It couldn't get any cooler, but it makes me wonder what is in the sack. Could you please shed some light on that? My last question is about Borg renovation. Having talked about the new Borg set, it made me take a good look at the old guy that's been with me for a couple of years. Is Kendostar capable of renovating an old set? And speaking of price, is it worth it? Thanks. Okay, so about your Shinobi Wraith, the Shinobi Wraith is a pretty flexible, comfortable set, to be honest. But if you're comparing it to the old Isamu, that was extremely flexible. And we moved away from that sort of Borg style because it didn't totally fit with our concept of being protective. And especially as the new rules came in from the All Japan Kendo Federation about Borg having to be protective enough to properly absorb strikes, especially the Isamu set, which was it was a couple of years ago now we discontinued it. It was very thin on the mendai. It was very, very, very flexible, very, very comfortable. I've still got a set of it myself, the test set that I have, but so I know exactly what it's like. But the thing about that is, like I say, it was a lot thinner than what you'll find the Shinobi Wraith is. And although it was more comfortable, yeah, it probably was less protective. And also it doesn't make the nicest shape like you'll get from the Shinobi Wraith. Look, I think you've probably only just received the Shinobi Wraith set. You're gonna need to give it a few weeks of actual use in Keiko, before it's gonna start to fit you properly and start to feel a lot more comfortable. But with time and with perseverance, it certainly will. About the omamori that was inside with it, I can't tell you what's inside, it's a secret, but that'd be spoiling everything. It kind of spoil the magic. It's magic powder that makes you better at Kendo, okay? I'm glad that you were happy with that. That's something that we fix on the inside of the door of every Borger set. There's a little thing inside that explains a bit about it as well. It comes with the Borger. And about restoration or renovation of the Borger that you've got, it's possible. It's certainly something we could do. You'd have to send me some photographs and let you know what sort of price we'd be looking at and whether it's worth doing it or not. It really depends on what the kind of damage is that needs renovating. Next one, on your website, what Shinai would you recommend for competitions? Okay, I'll bring it up and let you have a look. Okay, so here we are on the Kendostar website. This is a great set of Shinai for competition use. The Junki. Okay, these are specifically designed for competition use. They're a jisen gata, which means they're quite sort of large towards the hands, and the tip is quite light. They're not great for like using for loads of kirikaishi uchikomi sort of thing, because they will because they've been shaved with a lighter tip, they're not as durable as something like an all-purpose Shinai. So that's one choice. Another choice is something like this, the Koren. This is very similar to the Junki Shinai, but it's got a much larger grip. So if you want a larger grip, then the Koren is a great choice as well. But again, it's better for your sort of Shiai Jigeko style practice rather than your sort of Uchikomi Kirikaishi type. And finally, I definitely recommend checking these out as well. If you want something a little bit more premium, these are the Kabuto Wari Jisen Gata. These are similar to the Junki in terms of the balance, but they're shaved from slightly nicer bamboo, and they're shaved in what's called tatemen kezuri, which basically, I'm not sure if we can see on the screen, but it's shaved so that the bamboo goes to sort of the thin staves, so they can still get that sort of thin tip, but a little bit more meat is left in them. They're a little bit thicker, so you get a little bit more durability out of them. But I think they're beautiful Shinai. These are the ones that I like to use for that sort of Shiai type practice, or Shiai real ones as well. So yeah, they're a great choice as well. They are a little bit more expensive, of course, though, because they are a premium model. Okay, next one, we're nearly there. Hi Andy, when in a competitive situation such as a tournament, how do you psych yourself up before Shiai? I don't these days, to be honest. Try and keep myself calm rather than psych myself up. I usually find when I psych myself up, which I've done in the past, I usually kind of fall flat on the actual Shiai jaw and I don't perform very well. I'm not very good with that sort of mentality of kind of putting a lot of pressure on myself. I perform much better when I'm relaxed. So I try to keep myself chilled. I try to remember that if I lose the Shiai, it's not the end of the world. And I just try and do my best in every match that I go to. Next one. Hi Andy, how are you? I'm very well, thank you. I always had doubt of when is the best moment to use Hikiwaza during Tsubazari-ai. So if I wasn't clear, my English is not my main language. You were perfectly clear. You should watch the video that I put out about Hikiwaza. If you go to the Kendo show and search Hikiwaza, I talked all about it. The thing is, using Hikiwaza in Tsubazari-ai is exactly the same as any other Shikakiwaza. It's about seme and creating an opportunity. You can't just throw them out randomly when you feel like you want to do a waza. Otherwise, they're going to be defended, or even you're going to receive a counter strike. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to create an opportunity, create a chance with your opponent, create a hole in their defenses so that you can make a successful strike. All right, so you need to think about that. It's a little bit like playing rock, paper, scissors. If you show towards men, they might raise their hands and you can hit hikido. They may raise their hands this way and you can hit hikigote. If you show towards do, they might lower their hands this way and you can hit towards men. So there's lots of ways you can do that, but you have to try to figure that out as you're doing practice. But also you need to concentrate on it. Don't just get to Tsubazari and say, okay, now I want to do men, and just without thinking throw out hikimen. It's not going to work. Okay, last one. How do I train outdoors? Is there a pop-up dojo concept? If yes, when can you ship it to Paris so that we can practice during the day? Effing curfew. Okay, I'll take those in reverse order. I don't know of a pop-up dojo concept, I'm afraid. But in terms of training outdoors, I think the best thing you can do is just suburi, isn't it? And I know it's difficult, especially if you've got to wear shoes to do proper suriashi, so you have to be a bit careful with that. Remember, be mindful of the fact that you might not be doing suriashi properly when you do your suburi outdoors with your shoes on. That's it. Thank you for joining me for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it was a longer one than usual. We got some great questions there. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, ring the Kendo bell, support science, and shop at Kendostar. Thanks for joining me. See you next time. Bye-bye.